Welcome back, folks. Dow's down 265, Nasdaq's up 196, S&Ps are off 37. Let's go over for our Tiger Mortgage update, as we're going to be doing every Friday, folks, at quarter past the hour, 20 past the hour. We get our man, Mr. Bud Spriggs from the mortgage firm, giving us the update. Bud's phone number, folks, is 727-798-3888. Bud Spriggs, what's going on?
How you doing, Tom? How's your week go?
It's been a good week, man. The note and bond market has been on fire, with price on the way up and lower rates on the way down. It's pretty amazing.
I've actually had some of your listeners call me and tell me that.
Yeah.
So they are paying attention.
They're going to be calling you for breakfast, man. You got to love it. So,
I'll take it.
Let me ask you. So what happened today, folks, the 30-year broke its all-time low. The 10 years going after it. What I'd like to talk about first, though, Bud, is the new rules in the VA mortgages, because we get a lot of veterans out here. And each week, folks, if you have any questions, just send them in to me at OB1@TFNN, and we'll get them answered for you. You know, Bud will get them answered for you on Friday. So tell us about the new rules for VA mortgages.
Well, until recently, the VA loan, which is a great loan, the loan limit was based on whatever the conventional loan limit was.
Okay.
But later, last year, early this year, they had some changes, and the conventional loan limit went up to $510,400, $510,400.
Yeah.
But along with that came a change in the VA loan process and eligibility. Before, you were limited that amount, and anything over, you would, on a purchase, you'd have to put 25% of that down. So if you were buying a home for $610,000, they would take that $510,000 away. There'd be $100,000 left, and you would have to put 25% down, which is still a very low down payment for a jumbo loan.
Sure.
With a super rate. But they came in and said, you know, we're going to do away with that now, and we're going to go ahead and make the VA loan limit unlimited and 100% loan to value. So you can, if you got a purchase price of $600,000 and you can qualify, you can borrow 100% of that purchase price.
And the qualification would still have to do with you need a good credit score, right? And you need the cash flow from your job in order to pay the limit, pay the loan off, right?
Well, that's a good question. To me, VA, because they want to do good by the veterans, is a kind of a liberal loan as far as the guidelines go. Your debt ratio normally on conventional would be 50. That's, in other words, 50% of your gross income can be allocated to your debt.
Okay.
It's at 50%. I've seen VA loans go up to over 60% because they're looking at the disposable income. So somebody bringing in a hefty monthly amount might have $6,000 worth of debt going, but they still have $4,000 worth of disposable income. So
Sure.
That's a factor with the VA loan.
And so when we say unlimited, right? I gotta hit this because this is pretty wild, actually. When we say unlimited, you want to go buy $1 million house. They'll cover $1 million house if you have the income in order to pay it. Would that be correct?
Listen. When I knew we were going to talk about this, I thought that, but I just wanted to make sure, but just because it sounded almost too good to be true.
I know.
I called up underwriting, and I said, listen, I just want to make sure I'm going to be talking to some people. And they said there is no loan limit on the VAs.
That's amazing, man. So, now, folks, we're going to talk about, and we'll do this slowly, because I want you to understand, if you are a veteran, how this works, because it's pretty cool. So let's just say we'll start. Let's just make it a $500,000 loan in general. Okay, so we get a $500,000 loan. Then, if you're a veteran, they charge a funding fee, and the funding fee is what, 3%, right?
It can be less if it's your first time usage, but after you use it, then it's up a little over 3%. Correct.
Okay, and then what they do is that they kick that into the loan too. You don't have to come up with that, right?
Yeah, you do not have to come up with that. That's added to your loan.
Okay, so now we got this far. Now, what about the other closing costs? So the veteran would have to come up with the other closing costs. Is that right, or is that?
Well, if you're talking about a purchase, a lot of buyers go in, and if they offer the right price, they might get some of the closing costs paid for by the seller.
Yeah.
And then, just like you hear people on the radio talking about, we'll pay your closing costs. There's always normally a way to include those closing costs by getting a lender's credit from me. So in other words, if I price you out, here's here's the way it's done. If I price you out and you're going to get a 3.5% rate, and you say, hey, bud, I'd like a little help with your closing costs.
Okay.
Well, I know if I sell that loan back to VA for 3.75, I might get $4,000 more than we would have, and we'll give that to you as a lender credit to help with your closing costs. There's a way to get in with no money down.
I see. So that's pretty cool, man. So, and this is what, folks, this is what Bud's going to teach us coming in, because the market you're in, Bud, is pretty non-transparent. You know what I'm saying? That, like, I do a lot of transactions. I look at those closing papers, those HUD papers, and say, okay, man, where is it? So that's pretty cool that if someone needs help and wants help with the closing costs, what you're saying is that instead of a 3.5, you can say, okay, you want to pay 3.75, and then what ends up happening is that legally what ends up happening is that realistically you could get help with all those closing costs because of the fact that you might be paying another 0.25% interest, right?
And those are just examples,
yes.
But there's, when you hear those ads about we're going to pay this, we're going to pay that, nothing's for free. That's exactly what they're doing. They're taking what you could have made, they're upping it. When they sell it, they'll get more money, they'll pay your closing costs.
No, listen, man, we really appreciate you. This is cool, man. This is cool understanding it, okay? Because what happens, everyone's in a different situation when you're doing this, okay? And sometimes that's great. And when I look at it, many times, I expect a lot of people do this, is say, hey, spread over 30 years, 0.25% is not the end of the world if you don't have to come up with bread now. But if you have the bread, then great, okay? You get the lower rate,
You look at both options and see which one's best for you. And let me just throw in something in there that you mentioned in the beginning. You don't have to have 700 credit scores to get a VA loan. We'll go actually down to 620, and sometimes even below that with extenuating circumstances. So don't count yourself out just because your scores aren't up in the 700s.
That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Now, of course, I was talking about a little bit earlier, folks, and I was, and what had happened is that one of the Tigresses had called them earlier, and they were talking about the 1.31 on the 10-year. This is pretty exciting, Bud, that we're coming down to these numbers, man. I had said to Bud earlier, folks, that he's never going to sleep because people will be ringing his phone off. In fact, if we break this 1.31, this is going to be pretty wild, man. All of us watching this number.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what happens. And she mentioned some things like with what's upcoming in November. I think you're right. It's just going to get better.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And of course, what that does, asset-wise, is that, it puts a bid under real estate. You can see today, gold's going to the moon out here today, Bud. I mean, this rate structure coming down has put a big bid into the gold market out here, as well as the silver market. So it's going to be pretty wild watching.
And it's been busy this week with people that have been sitting on the sideline that have been pre-approved for weeks, and all of a sudden pulling the trigger on a home. Now, that could be because values going up or the rates staying where they are, getting a little bit lower, but even the real estate market is getting a little more active.
Yeah, and so next week we can talk about refinancing, because I'm sure that the rates are coming so low that a lot of people may want to refinance.
We'll have new numbers next week. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Bud. Bud's phone number, folks, is 727-798-3888. Stay right there. Come right back.